It's Monday, September 23rd, 2024. Thanks for joining me today. A few things to talk about. As most of you have probably already heard, the government is broke. And so we have another funding bill. Some are very opposed to it, some are not. But Mike Johnson, I think most of us would agree, has folded like a cheap suit. We have a deal. He says to keep the government funded through December 20th. I guess they came to a tentative agreement yesterday. Look, we know at the end of the day, they're never going to let the government close down. They really should. All these people who keep telling you and I that everything's great, the economy's wonderful, stock market's up, everything's good. Why is the government broke? Why every few months now we have these meetings on how we're going to keep the government open? This is how bad it is. The government is broke. Where is the money coming from? They're going to print it. They're going to borrow it. This is going to add to more inflation. In this bill, it strips out a provision that would require proof of citizenship to vote. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? What do you think? Do you really think things are so great that the government now is literally month to month. So this is going to keep it going to December 20th. Well, what happens after that? Well, there'll be another funding bill. They'll borrow more money. They'll print more money. And this is going to continue to cause more inflation, continue to devalue your dollar. It's going to affect your standard of living. And it's amazing that these people keep getting raises. They make tons of money. They have all the insider information. They make multi-millions of dollars. And yet we're completely broke. And who's paying for it? You and I are paying for it. So it's just an absolute joke. If your business was unfunded, it would just shut down. There's nobody coming with a magic hand giving you money so you can just keep crawling along, limping along. It doesn't work that way. But in the government system, it does work that way. Here's another one today. Fox Business, potential port strikes send ripple effects through supply chain, threaten inflation. This is now raising concerns of more inflation. We've been talking about this daily, the threat of the strike on the East Coast and in the Gulf. It says here, goods transported across the country are not only going to be late, they will cost more if this takes place. Who's going to pay to store all the empty containers? Another question. Who's going to pay for all this? This is all going to get passed on to the consumer, ladies and gentlemen. You and I, we will pay more at the store. This is inflation. Another one from CNBC. Southwest Airlines tells staff difficult decisions ahead in push to boost profits. Well, I think we can read between the lines that that means we're going to see more layoffs. We've been told countless times that, again, the economy's doing well. Everybody's jumping on airplanes. The airports are busy. Everybody's traveling. But Southwest Airlines tells their staff difficult decisions ahead and push to boost profits. Maybe things aren't as good as we're being told. Here's another one today. Chipotle starts replacing workers with robots to bypass California's minimum wage laws. Very interesting. Only a matter of time. We've talked about this for a very, very long time, that technology and robotics is going to replace workers. It's going to replace workers in all sectors across the board. And these restaurants that have been forced to pay $20 minimum wages here in California, and many more are having to pay even beyond that just to get people to work. It says here the robots can peel and cut an avocado for guacamole in 26 seconds. Another robot can make salads and bowls. We're going to see more of this replace humans. It's going to get more and more difficult to get a job, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of people have been forced into a career of leisure and hospitality, a career of working in fast food restaurants. And when you think about all the millions of people that have come over here that really don't have skills, that are working in these type of jobs, when these jobs dissolve, when they fade away, where are millions of people going to find work? You're going to see more people being replaced by technology. And already we're seeing in a lot of these fast food restaurants that they're shutting down the dining rooms so that they can cut workers that would, service those dining rooms. Now it's basically, you can get your order done through the app or through the drive-through, and that's it. And they're gonna just shut their dining rooms down. You want something, you go through the drive-through. So things are changing. 21 million renter households spent over 30% of their income on housing costs. This means nearly half of all renter households are distressed. And I will say this, by the time you pay utilities, you pay your taxes, you pay your rent, there's nothing left for millions of people. Nothing. They cannot save money. They don't have an emergency fund. They're in big trouble if even a minor emergency arises. So who will these people vote for? Who's going to be the best candidate for all these renters who are being affected by this housing cost, where more than 30% of their income is going to their housing costs? Who do you think they're going to vote for? I wonder. It's going to be a very, very interesting election. It's going to be even more interesting after the election, what takes place. But in regards to people having to spend this much money just to rent, this is completely unsustainable. This is unsustainable. How long can people keep doing this? Because there's always going to be an emergency that pops up, and emergencies aren't $300, $400, or $500 anymore. Emergencies are $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. And when you don't have any money saved up, and more than 30% of your income is just going to pay rent, this is putting people in a very vulnerable position. And it is very unsustainable. And people are just continuing to get more poor because they cannot get ahead. U.S. manufacturing PMI plunges to 15-month lows. Prices are soaring again. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for stagflation. You're going to see stagflation. Inflation's not going away. Now the layoffs are going to ramp up. They're going to accelerate. We're going to see very, very big trouble in this economy. Prices charged for goods and services are both rising at the fastest rates for 6 months. Rate cuts are not going to stop what's coming, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to accelerate what's coming. And I think that the Fed made a huge mistake here going 50. I think they made a huge mistake even cutting rates, period. They should have not let their foot off the gas pedal. They were nowhere close to getting inflation under control. And we all know that inflation was nowhere even around 3%. We've not been told the truth about where inflation really is. The interest rates were not high enough. They didn't keep them up high enough, long enough. They should have gone much higher to stomp out inflation, but they didn't do this. And now inflation is going to resurge, and it's going to surge much, much higher. Why app-based jobs don't pay like they used to, this on The Hedge today. A lot of people forced in to these gig-type jobs. People turned to the gig economy. What were they doing? They were driving taxis. They were doing, food deliveries. They were doing Uber, etc., all that stuff. It's no longer the subsidized fantasy land it once was, according to this article. Several app-based drivers say that the pay is barely worth the effort. More gig workers who drive are probably losing money. So when you take into account auto insurance, maintenance, fuel costs, taxes, all that, these people are losing money. So if they don't have these type of jobs now where they can make money in these gig type jobs, what do? What do they do? Because there are people, their rent is way over 30% of their income. They're spending 40, 50% of their income on rent. And now these gig type jobs aren't paying like they used to. And so where do people go? What do they do next? How do they continue to stay afloat? I don't know. I don't have the answer. It is getting more and more difficult to stay alive in this economy, ladies and gentlemen. And you got to just think outside of the box, do whatever you got to do, pick up the hustle, maybe take in roommates. I don't have the answer. But it is getting more and more difficult to make a buck, because the more you make, the more they take. The Hedge, Volkswagen could cut up to 30,000 employees in Germany. I bring this up because this depression that has begun in America is not going to just stay here in America. This depression is going to be global. We've got global debt at over $313 trillion. We're going to see big trouble throughout the globe, throughout the world, throughout the financial system, automakers, people across the world are in big trouble. And why is that? Debt. Debt is the killer here. Too many countries kept rates too low, they printed too much money, and now everybody's in big trouble. And what they're all going to do is turn on the printing presses and flood the economies with artificial injections, and it's going to cause big trouble. Look at the trouble it has already caused. And now people don't have the money to go out and buy new cars like they once did. Volkswagen going to cut 30,000 employees. That is catastrophic. And we're going to continue to see this all over the world and right here in America. Wait till the layoffs you're about to see that are going to take place in America. Last full-size Kmart in US to close. This was interesting. I was reading this morning. You know, this is sad. Because Kmart was a iconic company in America. I remember growing up and going to a Walmart, and it's really sad to see really a piece of history just closing down. Bridgehampton, New York. This Kmart will close. I believe it was around there 25 years. And this is going to leave one last location, and it's not going to be one of the full-size Kmarts, but one last location in Florida. That's it. But the last full-size store in Bridgehampton, New York will close, I believe, October 20th. Think about when you were younger, there was Kmarts everywhere. At one point in the early 90s, there were 2,300 Kmarts in America. It's another sad reminder of this economy. It's another sad reminder that America is in very, very big trouble. Now we're just all, you know, slaves to Walmart and Burger King and Del Taco and Taco Bell and Costco and, you know, all these massive corporations that have now just taken over the entire world, basically. But, you know, even though Kmart was, you know, a big box, you know, type of store back in the day, it had a different feel to it. It really did. I remember growing up as a kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, there was a big Kmart in our area. It even had a deli and made sandwiches, and it was just you know, it had the icy machine. It was just a whole different place. Nothing like what these Walmarts are today, where it takes you 20 minutes to get somebody to help you out if you're even lucky, and then you have to cash yourself out because they don't even have cashiers anymore. So talk about everything getting replaced. Robots, computers, technology replacing everything. You know, you box your own, bag your own groceries, you check yourself out. Pretty soon you'll have to stock the shelves and maybe unload the trucks at some point. But this is where it's all heading. But it is sad to see that, you know, Kmart, an iconic American store, is pretty much gone. Here's another one. Mr. T plans to hammer China buying American farmland. We have to control our land. What do you think about that? Do you agree with that? Do you think the world, including China, should be able to come to America and just buy up as much farmland as they want? I have to question this. Why are we allowing this to even take place? Why are we even having this conversation that they're coming in and buying up farmland near military bases? We know about the balloons that flew over the military bases, but they're buying physical farmland all over the country. And I think that this really makes us extremely vulnerable. It should be banned. It should be illegal. It should not be allowed. Do you think that America, an American company or American citizen, could go over to China tomorrow and go buy up farmland? Do you think that we could do that? Absolutely not. So why are we allowing it here? There are just certain things here in America that should not be allowed to be sold to other countries, especially China. Here's one today from the Daily Mail. Grim photos show what happened to a woman in Detroit after Uber dropped her off at wrong address. And this, I will close with this article because we are going to continue to watch the demise of our society. Another sad story, another sad reminder of why you've got to be paying attention when you're out in the real world, why you've got to have your head on a swivel, scanning and assessing, especially if you are a woman. So September 13th, 27-year-old Morgan Catton got dropped off the wrong address. No big deal. She even told the driver, look, it's only a couple blocks. I'm just going to walk it. No big deal. In Detroit. Big mistake right there. Anyway, so you think like you could walk 2 blocks without, you know, any problems, but hey, not today, not in this society. She's walking down a sidewalk. Some dude on a bicycle goes by her and then stops, gets off his bike, and for whatever reason, doesn't say, no reason whatsoever, he approaches her, grabs her, punches her in the face, knocks her down, and just pummels her. She's lucky to be alive. She took a serious beating. She will be okay, but face was all black and blue, puffy. 27-year-old woman, an adult man on a bicycle, gets off and does this to a 27-year-old woman. What kind of demons are walking around in our cities? Unbelievable, unacceptable. I mean, this person should be in prison for life for no reason, just for entertainment. And when you read these articles, and they're daily, I mean, this is a tame one, but these things are happening daily. Just you're just walking somewhere and somebody wants to attack you for fun, for entertainment, for whatever reason. Think about what this is all going to look like when people get hungry. Think about if the government and all these government subsidies feeding people. My local grocery store, 80% of the people there are getting a government subsidy. Somebody wrote me today and said that they talked to somebody at their Walmart, and they said 90% of the people shopping at their Walmart are using some sort or some form of government subsidy. Could you imagine if the government said, hey, we're in big trouble, we're broke, we can't send you as much, or we're going to have to cut you off, or whatever. Or inflation just gets so out of control that these government subsidies are pretty much worthless, right? Because if you're getting, say, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, but a loaf of bread goes to $10, and gas goes to $10 a gallon, and things just explode, and $1,000, $2,000 a month doesn't buy anything. What do you think people would do? How violent do you think people would be? People are doing this now for entertainment. I talked about yesterday the 7-Eleven in Beverly Hills that got ransacked for fun, for entertainment. I forgot to add to that story. A couple hours later, somebody came in and robbed the store with a firearm. Just hours after that, after the ransacking, somebody came in and robbed the store of cash. So it just gets worse and worse and worse, and we're not even in the bad times yet. People are still eating. As Bill Holter said, 72 hours, it becomes an apocalyptic movie. It's Mad Max at that point. Think about right now how bad it is. You take the food away, you take the subsidies away from people, this thing will be absolutely out of control. So I want to remind every one of you to be extremely careful when you're out there. I want to remind all of you to be adding to your skills, to be training. Your kids should be training. You should be training. Everybody should be prepared to engage if they have to. And look, avoid confrontation at all costs. But if you don't have a choice, if you have to protect yourself, your house, your assets, your family members, you better be ready to do that. And we're living now in a society where that is going to become more and more probable. And the people without skills, those people will resort back to their skills, which is nothing. They will be the victims. They will be the statistics. You have a choice. You can choose to be trained, or you can choose to be untrained. You can choose to be a victim. You can choose to not be a victim. It's up to you. But I think one of the most important things that you need to be adding to your preps or your resources is skills. A lot of people don't talk about that. We talk about, the food, the water, the cash, the gold, the silver, all that. But you better be adding security, and you better be adding skills to your security, to your training on how to take care of yourself, protect yourself, defend yourself, and all that stuff. Because this is becoming a very, very common event. And they don't care if you're an old lady, they don't care if you're a 27-year-old woman, they don't care if you're handicapped, they don't care who you are. These people are disgusting demons, and they get joy out of hurting you. When these people get hungry, when they get angry, when the government says no more, these people are going to be, they're going to be Mad Max. So be careful out there. Stay safe. God bless. Comment down below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And again, thanks for all the prayers, all the great letters, all the support, everything. I really, really appreciate it. I know there's a lot of channels you can tune into, a lot of people you can watch, and I really do appreciate that you take a few minutes out of your day and watch this one. I hope that you get something out of it. I hope that you're sharing some knowledge with everybody. We've got to, really continue to wake up other people, and we've got to, most of all, be preparing to protect ourselves and our families economically, physically, spiritually, and mentally. We've got to be well-rounded here, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a one-dimensional game. We've got to be walking the walk in every sector. So be careful out there. Thanks again for all the support. Thanks for tuning in. God bless.